Assalamualaikum and good evening to Dr. Rahima Kasim. My name is Laila Kistina binti Jamaluddin and my team members are Nur Azah Ain, Safina Tunaja, Muhammad Nasir and Faris Diki. So before I begin our presentation, I would like to introduce our topic, which are the implementation of ERP or Enterprise Resource Planning at Malaysia Airlines. So, as one of the leading airlines in Southeast Asia, Malaysia Airlines has made significant efforts to modernize and improve its logistics operation through ERP systems. This has helped them streamline process, improve accuracy, and respond better to industry challenges. Next, I will pass to the next presenter to explain about the company overview.
Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nur Azzain binti Muhammad Ali, and now I will explain for the company overview of Malaysia Airlines and Mas Cargo. So Mas Cargo is the air cargo and logistic division of Malaysia Airlines that is operating under the Malaysia Aviation Group (MAG). So for the first one, that is strategic operation hubs. Mas Cargo operations are headquartered at the Advanced Cargo Centre (ACC), which is located at Kuala Lumpur International Airport (KLIA). So the ACC is a purpose-built facility that provide modern infrastructure designed to manage various types of cargo efficiently, from standard freight and specialized shipment. So for the second one is cargo capabilities. Mas Cargo is equipped to handle a wide spectrum of cargo types such as general cargo including consumer goods and industrial equipments, temperature-sensitive cargo, live animals including racehorse and exotic pets, and also high-value goods such as luxury watch, electronics, and precious items with secure handling and tight protocols. So by this, Mas Cargo can serve multiple sectors including healthcare, agriculture, manufacturing, and retail. And for the third one, service offering. Mas Cargo offers a wide range of logistic solutions, including scheduled cargo flights on domestic and international routes, charter service for urgent, oversized, or specialized shipments, and also customized logistic solutions tailored by needs of each client. So these services are available for time-critical industry and business requiring precision and reliability. So despite its strengths, Mas Cargo faced several industry-wide challenges, such as an intense competition from global logistics and budget carrier with aggressive pricing strategy. The second one is economic fluctuation and volatile fuel costs, which can impact their operational planning, and also operational complexity due to diversity of cargo types requiring specialized handling, documentation, and compliance with international regulation. So for the last one, Mas Cargo future plans. So the first one is digital booking partnership with Cargo One, which Mas Cargo plan to make global agreement with Cargo One, to leading e-booking platform that can enable real-time research, capacity booking, and instant confirmation. And the last one is adoption of AI-powered logistic optimization, which Mas Cargo try to implementing Unisys logistic optimization technology to improve their load planning, routine, and cargo space utilization for operational efficiency, cost savings, and lower carbon footprint. So that's all from me. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Nasir bin Muhammad Zuki. Today I'm going to talk about ERP system description in Malaysia Airlines. Actually, Malaysia Airlines use two systems, which is SAP based on ERP for general business operation and Unisys LMS for logistic operations, which mean they use this system in Mas Cargo. The first one is Cloud-Based Logistic Management System, LMS. Mas Cargo transition from a legacy mainframe system to Unisys Cloud-Based LMS. The adoption of such a system is not just a technological upgrade, that is a strategic enabler that allows the company to operate smoothly and remain competitive in a highly demanding industry. The second one is enhanced shipment visibility with DGIQ, which is DGIQ offers real-time tracking and monitoring shipment. The third one is financial and inventory management. Streamline financial reporting, budgeting, and inventory tracking for better cost control and resource planning. Lastly is enhanced maintenance and crew scheduling. Automate scheduling, tracks compliance, and ensure proper allocation of resources for maintenance and flight crews. For the conclusion of my part, this ERP is very important for an airline and for everyone knowledge. The mission search and rescue for the missing MH370 SAR in 2014, researcher analyzed the Malaysia Airlines ERP system to track the plane that disappear from the radar. Although this system can provide the latest location more accurately, until now this plane has not been found possible due to various reasons and factors that cause the system to not to be able to fully function. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Safinatun Naja, and now I will continue from the previous presentator to explain about my part, which is the implementation process ERP SAP in Malaysian Airlines. So we're gonna start from the step 1, which is planning, identifying, and justifying IT-based system. We're gonna start from the background of the issue. So Malaysian Airlines face declining profitability and inefficient business process. So they creating the need for an integrated system. SAP, aka System Application and Program, was selected as the ERP solution to improve their supply chain management, customer service, financial operation, and employee efficiency. This choice was justified by potential benefits such as reduced inventory, improved data analysis, and streamlined process flow. So next to the step 2, which is creating IT architecture. Malaysian Airlines use an integrated ERP platform which they called SAP ECC, aka SAP Enterprise Central Component, to manage the key of business operation within a single connected system. So there are 5 primary modules that their company uses. The first module is human resource modules for human resource management. The second module is material management for inventory and procurement. The third module called as controlling modules for cost controlling. The fourth module is financial accounting modules. It is for financial recording. And the last modules, which is the fifth module, is sales and distributions modules for manage their sales activities. The architecture goals. The goals of the architecture are to facilitate cross-departmental decision making, prevent information duplication, and establish a centralized data system. Next, we move to the step 3, step 3. Which is IT acquisition approach. For the acquisition models, SAP ECC suppliers and ERP consultants assist an internal project team in implementing the plan. For the project organizational structure, there is a dedicated ERP team led by a project manager and involve various departments such as finance, operations, and logistics. So the next step is step 4, which is testing, installing, integrating, and deploying IT applications. For the first thing, a pilot study was first conducted in the finance divisions to test system effectiveness. SAP modules were then installed and integrated in phase, starting with material management. Before full launch, system testing covered interfaces, reporting, and transactions. Staff productivity was measured by evaluation. The last step is step 5, which is operation, maintenance, and updates. The finance and other departments fully operate the SAP system, supported continuously by IT staff and ongoing user training. Additional modules like project management and warehousing are gradually added. With success measured by improved employee productivity and financial efficiency. So that's all for the implementation process. Hello, I'm Safina Tonaja, and now I will continue my part about the table implementation process, included implementation phase, timeline, stakeholders, system integration process, and also training. For the first implementation phase are planning and needs identification. The timeline happens before 2011. For the stakeholders involved are top management and IT strategy team. For the system integration process is identifying problems with financial and operational inefficiency. So the main ERP system chosen was SAP ECC. For the training, there has been no training. Instead, the emphasis is on strategic planning and the ERP system viability. The second implementation phase are SAP architecture design and preparation. The timeline happens in 2011. The stakeholders involved are ERP project manager, SAP consultant, and IT division. For the system integration process is create the SAP ECC modules for project management, finance, human resources, inventory, and materials. For the training is workshop on mapping the needs of each department and introducing the system to the internal project team. The third implementation phase are project team acquisition and building. The timeline happens from 2011 until 2012. The stakeholders involved are ERP consultant, SAP vendor, project management, IT division, and finance division. For the system integration process is SAP vendor selection and the creation of a cross-functional ERP project team comprising finance division employees. For the training, key staff from related division and the project team will get basic technical training. We move to the fourth implementation phase are phase trial and implementation. The timeline happened in 2012. The stakeholders involved are ERP implementation team, finance department, and SAP users. For the system integration process, the finance division is where the SAP module deployment begins, testing for the functionality. For the training, extensive training for the end users, particularly the financial employees across several divisions. So we move to the fifth implementation phase is operational and also initial evaluation. Timeline happens in 2012 until 2013. The stakeholders involved are financial management and ERP support team. For the system integration process, productivity assessment following implementation and verification of SAP module integration. For the training, the ERP team will provide operational support and update training on site. And the last implementation phase are advanced development and maintenance. Timeline happens 2013 and berkelanjutan lah. For the stakeholders involved are IT team, SAP maintenance team, and all related departments. For the system integration process, system and module improvements, as well as the extension of SAP integration to other departments. For the training, periodically provide ongoing training that incorporates users' input and system upgrade session. So that's all from my part. I will pass to the next presenter.
Now, let's move on to some of the key benefits of Malaysia Airlines has gained from implementing ERP. First, ERP has improved maintenance operations. Malaysia Airlines invested around 320 million ringgit Malaysia to upgrade their engineering maintenance system. This investment has enhanced maintenance planning, engineering workflows, and part of management. The improvements are expected to save the company over 120 million ringgit Malaysia each year by increasing efficiency and reducing downtime. Secondly, the ERP system has enabled faster invoice handling. The airline processes over 28,000 invoices every month, which used to be a slow and manual task. By integrating Asker's account payable solution with their SAP system, they automated this process. As a result, they have achieved faster payments, fewer human errors, and better visibility over their cash flow. Third, there are cargo improvement through MasCargo. They use a unique cargo system to support better load planning, which help them maximize aircraft space and reduce delay. This improves cargo flows, increases revenues, and minimize wasted space during transport. Lastly, the ERP upgrade has led to be a better overall IT system by partnering with Tata Consultancy Service (TCS). Malaysia Airlines has developed a more flexible and scalable digital environment. This means they are now better equipped to deliver service efficiently and adapt quickly to changes in the aviation industry. Despite these benefits, Malaysia Airlines faced several challenges during ERP implementation. The first major challenge was the high cost. ERP system require a large investment in software, hardware, and staff training. In addition, there are ongoing expenses related to system upgrade and cloud service subscriptions. Next is the system disruptions. During the transition, there were delays in cargo handling and planning. system change, there's always a risk of mistakes or temporary setbacks, especially during the early phases. Another issue was employee resistance. Many staff members found it difficult to shift from traditional methods to a fully digital system. Malaysia Airlines had to invest in extensive training to help staff adapt and to prevent errors that might occur from improper system use. Finally, the challenges was a complex integrations was a technical challenges. The ERP system had to connect and work smoothly with various other existing platforms. This kind of integration is complex, which can lead to delays or data issues if not handled carefully. Next, I pass this presentation to the next.
Hello, my name is Faris Diki Fernandez, and today I'm going to talk about critical analysis and a lesson learned. So, in my critical opinion, the first one is operational management, where the frequent flight cancellation and operational disruption, the airline industry is highly vulnerable to operate disruption, as seen globally during the major IT outage and logistical. The second one of the point is poor fleet management and delayed aircraft deliveries. The pace of new aircraft delivery has slowed dramatically due to supply chain issue, increasing the average age of airline fleets and delaying the benefits of fleet renewal, such as improved fuel efficiency and lower emission. The third one is high management turnover and lack of strategic direction. Frequent change in leadership and an absence of coherent long-term strategy have undermined organization stability and ability to implement turnover as a common issue among legacy carriers in decline. The fourth one is excessive operational costs and financially losses. Airlines face high fixed costs, including labor, maintenance, and leasing. Reducing these costs quickly is difficult, and many carriers, including MIS, have struggled to cut costs sufficiently to offset revenue losses, leading to persistent financial deficit. The second point is crisis management, where the first point in crisis management is MH370 and MH17 tragedies impact on public trust. The disappearance of MH370 and the downing of MH17 severely damaged MAS reputation. Negative news, rumors, and conspiracy theories profiled, leading to anger, disappointment, and significant losses of public trust. The second is the initial communication weakness of confusion. Early crisis response were hampered by consistent messaging and delay in communication. Gaps in information and conflicting statements from the different sources worsened stakeholder sentiment and eroded confidence in the airline's management. The third point in this is improvement in crisis communication post MH370. The MH370 crisis highlighted the need for rapid, transparent, and consistent communication. Lesson learned, including issuing irregular updates, promptly responding media inquiries, and maintaining engagement with stakeholders even when information is scarce. The fourth one is challenge in managing public perception and stakeholder coordination. The complexity of the crisis and the global attention they attach made in difficult for MIS to manage public perception and coordinate efficiently with stakeholders, including government and international agencies. The third point in my critical analysis is financial and strategic challenge, where the first point is continuous loss despite the government bailout out. Despite repeated government intervention, MIS has continued to incur substantial financial losses, reflecting deeper structural and operational issues. The second one is reduce operation license validity by regulatory authority. Ongoing financial instability and operational shortcoming have led regulator to limit the validity of mass operating license, signaling concern about the airline's long-term viability. Political, and the third one, political distraction, diverting focus from core issues. Political interference, shifting priorities have often diverted attention from the airline's fundamental business challenge, impending effective turnaround efforts. And the last one is competition from low-cost carriers and regulational rivals. The rise of agile low-cost competitors has intensified price competition to erode MIS market share, in particularly in the Asia Pacific region. So what we learn, what lesson that we learned? The first one is proactive and transparent crisis management. Clearly defined role and rapid consistent communication are essential during the crisis to maintain public trust and minimize regulation reputational damage. And then the second one is leadership stability and strategic vision. Stable leadership and coherent long-term strategic plan are critical for effective turnaround and sustainable growth. And then the third is operational efficiency and modernization. Investing in fleet renewal and enforcing operational discipline can reduce cost and improve competitiveness. So benefit depend on timely aircraft deliveries. The fourth one is financial discipline and accountability. Rigorous cost control and transparent investment decisions are necessary to restore financial health and justify continued government support. The fifth one is the stakeholder and employee engagements. Retaining skilled staff and fostering engagement across the workforce support operational resilience and service quality. The sixth one is national interest and strategic assessment. Government supports should be aligned with the measurement progress, ensuring that national interested are balanced with commercial viability. So that's all from me. Thank you for listening.